Hello, kindergarten. Welcome back. It's Mrs. Hurleman. I hope last week you enjoyed learning all about the rainforest. I know I did. I learned lots of animals and plants that make the rainforest their home. So this week we're going to switch gears because now we've learned all the habitats of the world. So now you are experts with all those habitats out in the world. So we're going to go back to when we learned all about animals. Remember when we learned about mammals and birds and reptiles and amphibians? Well, we saved one last group of animals for now. Does anybody remember what that group of animals is? Yeah, it's bugs. So we're going to spend the next 5 weeks learning all about bugs. And entomology is the scientific study of bugs. And you boys and girls are going to become entomologists. And entomologists are experts or scientists who study bugs and their bodies, their life cycles, their behaviors, and their environment. And we saved this group of animals for now because now we see bugs out there. Are there lots of bugs outside right now? There sure are. So I encourage you while we're learning about them to explore them. Go out, collect them, put them in a bug jar, study them, look at their body parts, look at what colors they are, what they eat, where they live. And then of course put them back in nature because that's where they love to live and that's how they help us. They're part of nature and they do important things for our world. So this week we're going to learn all about bugs. So the book I found today is a big one. It says, "What kind of bug is that?" And some of you might have asked yourself that question before. What kind of bug is that? Maybe you've seen a bug and you've never saw it before, and you're curious about what kind of bug it is. I know I'm not a big fan of bugs, so when I see them, I kind of get the creepy crawlies and I start to itch and I might even scream and I might say, "What kind of bug is that?" The author's name is Sarah Murphy and it was designed by McKinley Baker. And remember, this is a nonfiction book, so when we read nonfiction books, pay attention to these text features we've been talking about. Is there a table of contents, bold print, photographs, maps, headings, captions, labels, and a glossary that might help you to learn more about what you're reading. So make sure we pay attention to these while we're reading. What kind of bug is that? And I already see labels all over. Look at these. Look at all these bugs. It says, "Look at all the bugs. They do not all look the same." Look at this one. That's a house centipede. Oh, you know that one. Ladybug, a deer tick, a pill millipede, fig eater beetle, grasshopper, peacock butterfly, darkling beetle, green bottle fly, carpenter ant, orb weaver spider, shield bug, honeybee, green beetle, wasp, housefly, tarantula, millipede, and bumblebee. Some of them you might have heard of and then others you might not have heard of. That's because bugs are the biggest group of animals. There's thousands of them out there. That's because there are millions of different kinds of bugs in the world. All of these bugs are grouped into 3 types. There's one, which are called insects. So that's an interesting thing because most people think that bugs and insects are the same thing, and they're actually not. A bug and an insect are 2 different words because a bug is divided into 3 groups and an insect is one type of bug. So they actually are not the same thing. An insect is one type of bug, an arachnid is another type of bug, and myriapods are the 3rd type of bug. So let's learn here's our heading. We're going to learn about insects first. There are more than 1 million kinds of insects in the world. Lots of bugs are insects. All insects have 3 main body parts. And here they labeled them for you. The head, then the middle is called the thorax, and then the end is called the abdomen. So head, thorax, and abdomen. All insects also have 6 legs and 2 antennae. And here they labeled again, so let's count them. 1, 2, 3 legs on this side. 4, 5, 6. 3 and 3 make 6. And then they have 2 antennae on the top of their head. So all insects have 6 legs and 2 antennae. That's an important fact to remember. Some insects have wings. Some have 2 wings, some have 4, and some have none. Another interesting fact. Look, here's the wasp. How many wings does he have? 2. Here's a ladybug. How many does she have? She has 2. And then the ant, how many does he have? None. And then look at this bird grasshopper. Never heard of it. How many wings does he have? 4. Insect eggs grow up into adults in 2 ways. So another interesting fact, insects are born from eggs. And this is an up-close picture because I see a magnifying glass of a butterfly egg, but it's not just one egg. Look it, there's an S at the end. Look how many eggs butterflies lay. Hundreds. Yeah, it says aphids, some cockroaches, and one kind of fruit fly have live pupas, not eggs. So there are a few insects or bugs that don't lay eggs, but most do. So look, it says this is the true to size of a butterfly egg. Look how tiny it is compared to the true size of a chicken egg. So a butterfly egg is much smaller than a chicken egg. But it says the insect can turn into an adult in 2 ways. So let's see the 2 ways. Number 1, complete metamorphosis. Ooh, that's a big word that I don't think I know what it means. But a metamorphosis, it says larvae have to eat a lot of food every day to get enough energy to metamorphosize. So here's the egg, step 1. And when it hatches, out comes what is called the larva. And then it says the larva has to eat lots of food. And here, what did it do? It turned into a pupa, or sometimes we might call it a chrysalis or a cocoon. And then out of the pupa comes the butterfly. So metamorphosis, a complete metamorphosis, is when the animal that comes out of the egg changes into a completely different animal when it becomes the adult. So when it comes out of the egg, it's a caterpillar, and then it turns into a completely different animal by the end of the life cycle, a butterfly. So that's a metamorphosis, or a change, when it turns into a completely different animal. But then you get some insects who don't turn into a completely different animal. It's called an incomplete metamorphosis. So they're born from an egg. When they come out of the egg, they're called a nymph. And this is a dragonfly nymph. But does it look like a dragonfly? No, it doesn't. When it's a baby, or when it's first come out of the egg, it can live underwater for a year, but they only live for a week or 2 as an adult. So here, he doesn't look like the dragonfly. And when he does his change, or his metamorphosis, he turns into the dragonfly. Looks like he grows wings, Might change color a little bit. So he doesn't turn into a completely different animal, but he does do some changing. Now we're going to switch and talk about the second type of bug, which is called an arachnid. Lots of bugs are arachnids. Spiders, scorpions, ticks, and daddy longlegs are arachnids. Arachnids have two main body parts, an abdomen and a cephalothorax. So they're different from an insect. Here's a scorpion, a tick, and here's that daddy longleg. It says daddy longlegs are not spiders. They don't make venom or silk. So that's an interesting fact. It's not a spider, but it is an arachnid. How are they different from insects? Well, all arachnids also have 8 legs. So they have 8 legs. Ooh, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I were looking at it, I see 4 and 4 hiding in 8. 4 on this side, 4 on this side. And then they have 2 pedipalps, which are kind of like antennas, but they're different because it says here arachnids or pedipalps are like arms. Arachnids use their pedipalps to grab their prey. So they're more like arms, where an antenna they use to feel. Well, the pedipalps they use to grab their prey. So let's look at the life cycle. Here's another heading, the life cycle of arachnids. Most arachnids come from eggs too. Spiders can lay hundreds of eggs, and after they hatch, baby spiders grow into adults through molting. So some types of scorpions have live babies instead of eggs. So here's the spider, and there's the egg in the web. And then here is the baby down here. So you can see it doesn't really look like the mommy yet. Has some changing to do, just like the insect. All right. Baby spiders look like tiny adults. They have hard shells called exoskeletons. To grow, they have to get rid of their shell and grow new, bigger ones. So some spiders molt many times. So that's what molting is, in case you were wondering over here what that means. It means they shed their skin and grow a new set of new skin. So here it is. It says preening. Legs curl up under the body and rub the abdomen. Pre-molt, the head starts to beat faster, or the heart starts to beat faster and makes the body expand and get bigger. Then number 3, the exoskeleton shed. The muscles flex and crack the exoskeleton until it falls off. Spiders are white after molting. And then here's the newly molted spider with a new exoskeleton, which is soft and does not have hair yet. And then the last group of bugs is called the myriapods. And the myriapods have many body parts and many legs. And depends on what one you're talking about. Here's a millipede. Look at all the body parts. All those different sections are his body parts. And if you look underneath, look at all the legs he has. Up to 750 legs. Here's a centipede. He has 30 to 354 legs. And here's this pill millipede, 44 to 60 legs. And here's that centipede. 2 legs per body part. So each of these little sections is a body part, and each section has 2 legs. And they have antennas, just like insects. And millipedes have 4 legs per body part. Ooh, even more. So it says here, some have 2 legs on each body part, some have 4 legs on each body part, and they all have 2 antennas. So just see how all these labels help us to understand the book better? So when you're reading nonfiction books, you need to pay attention to all the labels. Let's look at the life cycle of myriapods. Myriapods come from eggs. When the babies hatch, they have fewer legs than they will have as adults. So they grow more legs. And look at all the eggs. Myriapods have to shed their exoskeletons to grow more body parts and more legs. This is called, same thing as the arachnids, molting. So it says centipedes are blue after molting. That's interesting. So let's think about what we learned. So look at all these bugs. Which ones are insects? Which are arachnids? Which are myriapods? How do you know? Well, how did we know? What did we learn about insects? How many legs do insects have? Yeah, they have 6, right? So let's see if we can count all the legs, and the legs might help us decide what group they belong into. All right, so here's the scorpion. How many legs does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So which group of bugs has 8? Yeah, the arachnids, just like the spider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the spider and the scorpion, and I think the tick up here might have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're all arachnids. And then all these ones with lots of legs belong in the myriapod group, right? And then the butterfly, it's hard to see his legs in this picture, but the ladybug, if you look close, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so he's an insect. So is the fly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 2 back ones are hiding behind his wings. But he has 6, so he'd be another insect. Same with the shield bug. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The ones in the front are tiny. So he's another insect. So insects have 6 legs. Arachnids have 8. And then the myriapods have lots. All right, let's see here. Can you match the baby to the adult? Because remember, the baby doesn't look like the adult. All right, so which one do you think this would go to? He's white. He's got 8 legs. I think he's going to turn into this black widow spider. And then here's the tricky one. This is the caterpillar. What's the caterpillar turn into? Yeah, he's going to turn into the monarch butterfly. So he has a complete metamorphosis he's got to go through to turn into a completely different animal. And then here's this, I guess it would be a millipede maybe, or a centipede, hard to tell, but he's got lots of legs, but he doesn't quite look like, oh, it is a centipede. His mom, he's got some more legs to grow and body parts to turn into his mom. All right, so I hope you learned already a lot about what a bug is. So let's think about what we just learned. And remember, we like to use graphic organizers to help us remember all those facts we learned. So today I made a web. I thought I'd make a web since spiders spin webs and spiders are an arachnid. So I put in the middle insects because this week, even though we learned that an insect is one type of bug, we're going to be learning about insects this week, and we're really going to focus in on insects, and then we're going to learn about arachnids and myriapods later on. We're going to save them for later. So let's learn or read some interesting facts that our book just taught us about insects. It says, an insect is one type of bug. Remember, we said they're not the same thing. A bug has 3 different types of animals that it can be. An insect, or an arachnid, or a myriapod. A spider is not an insect because it has 8 legs. Insects have 3 body parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. Insects have 6 legs. Insects have 2 antennae. Some insects have wings. insects are born from eggs and they go through a metamorphosis or a change to become an adult. So that's what we learned today from our book. So today what I want you to focus on are the body parts of the insect, because we just learned they had special names. So I've got an ant here, and an ant is one type of insect. All right, and you can see we just learned that insects have 6 legs. So he's got 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. 3 and 3 makes 6. So we can label those his legs. So insects have 6 legs. And then what do we call these on the top of his head that help him feel? Do you remember what those are called? Yeah, those are called antennae. And then what's this part called? That's pretty easy. Yeah, his head. But then the other 2 body parts, remember insects have 3 body parts. That's another way we can tell that it's an insect and belongs to the insect group, is it has 6 legs and 3 body parts. So what's the middle one called? Do you remember? There's a song that Mrs. Hurleman knows. It goes head, thorax, abdomen, abdomen. Kind of goes along with head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And I have a video that I want you to watch next that's on YouTube by Dr. Jean, and she'll teach you that song. So the middle part is called thorax, head, thorax, and the last part, body part, is abdomen. So today I want you to really learn those names of the body parts. Say them again. Head, thorax, abdomen. And I want you to go on YouTube and find that video by Dr. Jean. There should be a link right on the resource page that hopefully your teacher sent you. And you can go on and sing the song and learn it with Dr. Jean. I also encourage you to go on because Mrs. Hurleman has a friend, and his name is Eddie, and he's an entomologist who really just studies insects. So I told him that you boys and girls were learning all about insects. So he said that this week he's going to write you a letter every day and teach you a new insect every day and some really cool facts about what he's learned about those insects. So every day this week you're going to have a letter and a video to watch from Eddie, my friend, the entomologist. And he's going to teach you about some bugs, and he's going to do a fun little activity with you. So after this, I want you to sing the song with Dr. Jean, and then I want you to go on and watch the video and listen to a letter from my friend Eddie. And this week, boy, we're going to have lots of fun learning all about bugs, specifically insects this week. And we're going to become entomologists together. So have fun, boys and girls.